Congratulations if you still held on to your Bitcoin on July 6th, 2023, because if you did, you just survived the longest bear market in Bitcoin's history, and we just broke a couple records. From the peak of Bitcoin's price to the bottom, Bitcoin was down 83.6% and returns were negative for 490 days straight. Now the last record was 353 days long, which lasted between November 2014 and October 2015. So if you still have it all, congratulations, you are now a crypto survivor. Hopefully you look like this during the next bull run. That's important because we might be getting another one pretty soon.
Spot Bitcoin ETFs have been all over the headlines recently as BlackRock, WisdomTree, and others rush to file their own.
And a lot of crazy stuff has happened after my last video update, and if you haven't seen it, here's what happened. Bitcoin exploded to over $30,000 or 82% this year, which is pretty amazing when you remember that the stock market is also doing really good this year, but it's up only 15% by comparison. So Bitcoin is doing 5.5 times better. And on Thursday last week, Bitcoin reached a 13-month high, leaving a lot of people to wonder, why is Bitcoin still doing so good this year? And the answer is partially because of BlackRock, which is the biggest asset management company in the world with close to $10 trillion worth of money under management, along with a couple other huge major hedge funds. They're all creating what a lot of people consider to be the holy grail for Bitcoin, which is the spot Bitcoin ETF. If approved, the theory is that it would open Bitcoin up to billions, if not trillions of dollars worth of new investment money to potentially flow into it. But there's a catch, because before anyone can actually create their ETF, they have to file and get it approved with the Mac Daddy, the OG, the final boss of the SEC, Uncle Gary Gensler. And just last week, the SEC wrote back to everyone who filed their ETF that they did not address their main concerns. But the good news is that most of those concerns have been resolved because they refiled their ETF again.
The race for a spot Bitcoin ETF heats up. BlackRock and others with a flurry of refilings, a possible silver bullet to help get a fund across the finish line.
So the rat race for the holy grail that is the spot Bitcoin ETF is still on, and in today's video I want to share with you exactly what the SEC is looking for, what our odds are, and where Bitcoin's price could go next. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the most important and epic battle in all of crypto, the spot Bitcoin ETF. And here's just a quick reminder of how long this battle has been going on. Way back in July 2013, the Winklevoss twins first applied for the Bitcoin ETF, which was rejected. Now, a lot of others have tried along the way, but all of them have failed. In fact, it wasn't even until September 2020 that we got the first Bitcoin ETF on Bermuda's stock exchange. But it was not the one ETF to rule them all that would allow Wall Street the ability to include Bitcoin into people's pension funds and retirements like their IRAs and 401ks that would give Bitcoin a new level of acceptance and a feeling of safety around the world. But all of that just recently started to change, and what happened on June 15th this year is about to blow your mind. Bitcoin's price was here, but shortly after, it shot up to $30,000.
Since the start of 2023, Bitcoin has pulled off an absolute moonshot. The crypto of record has soared 83%, with a good chunk of it coming since June 15th. That's when BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, filed an application for a spot Bitcoin Trust ETF.
So on June 15th, just the rumor of the biggest asset management company in the world applying for an ETF had that effect on Bitcoin's price. And a big part of the reason why is because of this guy, Larry Fink. He runs BlackRock and is arguably one of the most powerful people in the world right now.
I know a lot of people hold Bitcoin. You don't hold Bitcoin, right?
I don't own anything other than mutual funds and ETFs and BlackRock shares.
Even though he said that he does not own Bitcoin himself, the reason why Bitcoin is holding so strong right now is because he's publicly coming out in support of Bitcoin as a technology.
Let's be clear, Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency, and so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative.
And this is a huge endorsement because this is completely the opposite point of view that he had not that long ago, which is that Bitcoin is just an index for money laundering. And now he's saying that Bitcoin is helping democratize the world of finance, and it's sort of like the evolution of digital gold.
So I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold in many ways.
And just for context, the reason that people are so excited about BlackRock's filing specifically is because BlackRock has an insanely good track record of having their ETFs approved. They have 575 ETFs filed and approved versus only one that has ever been rejected, which was way back in 2014. And BlackRock is not the only hedge fund that's trying to get their ETF approved.
BlackRock's iShares joins a crowd of fund managers from ARK to Invesco, VanEck, Grayscale, all these other fund companies that have been desperate to do the same, but they've been turned away by the SEC's bouncers.
Now, so far, here are the two most important things you have to look for. This is what it's going to take for Uncle Gary Gensler to finally approve the spot Bitcoin ETF. Here's the most interesting part about Bitcoin right now. Its 10, 7, 5, and 3-year annual compound growth rates are 84%, 73%, 36%, and 49%. So regardless of what happens in the short term with this ETF, it's the long-term investment strategy that's proven to work the best. And that's why I've started to buy $100 a day of Bitcoin using Cash App. Cash App is one of the largest public companies to support Bitcoin and the first public company to support the Lightning Network. And that's one of the most anticipated features in the industry. And here are just some of the things you can do with Cash App. For example, you can buy Bitcoin with as little as $1. You can send Bitcoin via the Bitcoin network or to your friends directly through Cash App. And there's also the auto buy feature that allows you to dollar cost average into Bitcoin on a schedule so you don't have to try to time the market or this ETF. They also have other incredible features like gifting Bitcoin to your friends and family and auto-investing your spare change through roundups with your Cash Card purchases. And if you're a true believer, Cash App even allows you to invest a portion of your paycheck automatically into Bitcoin. But one of my personal favorite features is something everyone's been waiting for. If you want to share the gift of Bitcoin, you can send Bitcoin to others for free using the Lightning Network. To get started, tap the Dollar Payments tab on your Cash App to get to the home screen, then go to the upper left-hand corner and tap the QR code scanner, and then hold your phone over the Lightning invoice QR code to scan it, and then follow the prompts, and then pay the request. It's that easy. Please use the link in the description below this video to try Cash App now. It's super easy to get started with. Thank you, Cash App, for sponsoring this segment of the video, and now let's get back to it. So the first thing the SEC wants is something called the Surveillance Sharing Agreement. And the literal definition of what this is that it provides that a non-US entity will be able to produce and share relevant information about market trading activity, clearing activity, and customer identity without being materially impeded by the non-US entity's rules, secrecy, or blocking laws. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It says that even if you're legally not somebody who has to comply with the SEC, that you're going to anyway, and you're going to give us all the data that we want, because this is going to need to be shared with the NASDAQ so that we can study it in order to understand Bitcoin's trading activity along with who's actually involved. So the number one priority for the SEC is transparency before they ever approve this ETF. Because their second main concern is something that's been a problem with Bitcoin ever since it was first created: insider trading.
Solidus Labs recently released the first part of the company's 2023 crypto market manipulation report with a focus on insider trading activity in the space.
A company by the name of Solidus Labs found that insider trading is way worse in crypto than they originally thought. Dating back to 2021, they found that over 50% of crypto token listings had some evidence of insider trading. They found that more than 130 of these projects had some sort of evidence of insider trading activity where someone either bought or withheld a bunch of tokens before being released, only to dump them on the market, mostly on what are called DEXs, or decentralized exchanges, where some people were reported to have made over $200,000 of illegal profit. And this is a big reason why this ETF has not been approved. Because in order to discourage insider trading, there has to be transparency between the wallets and who they actually belong to. And that'll be extremely important once grandpa and grandma start to put Bitcoin into their pension funds and retirement accounts. And that's something I completely agree with. So to help solve this problem, BlackRock and all the other hedge funds picked Coinbase as their surveillance program partner.
And late last week, BlackRock and NASDAQ refiled, naming Coinbase as the custodial surveillance partner of the spot Bitcoin trust.
And that's why it might actually be Coinbase that benefits the most from this. Now, at the beginning of this year, Coinbase's stock was here, about $33 per share, and today it's closer to $80 a share, which is a 135% increase, which is insane for a stock to do in a single year. That's even better than Bitcoin. But it's still an extremely risky stock, and full disclosure, I bought Coinbase pretty much at the peak, and to date, it's probably my worst investment that I've ever made. So far, I've lost the equivalent of what Stradman has owed on his twin-turbocharged Lamborghini Gallardo. Except, I'm Lambo-less. Now here's the thing, not everyone agrees that if a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved, that Bitcoin's price will actually go up.
JP Morgan did say the moves to make Coinbase a surveillance partner for these funds has led to the, quote, bullish momentum of the company's share price in recent weeks.
And that's right. And I don't want to be a party pooper here, but I think to make the best investment possible, you have to consider all the data and all the points of views. And JP Morgan has a good point. They're saying that at this point in time, all the retail investors, people like you and I, have already figured out a way to get into Bitcoin and start investing because it's really easy. So there's not that much of an argument to be made that there's all this retail money waiting on the sidelines for the approval of this ETF. But the same is true of hedge funds. Right now, there's a lot of Bitcoin ETFs in the form of futures, and yet we're not seeing all the institutional hedge fund money flow into Bitcoin yet. So it's not a guarantee. And that's a risk that's worth considering, especially if the opposite happens and this ETF gets rejected. We could see Bitcoin's price fall way below $30,000 really fast. Now on the opposite side of the coin, I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy price predictions of where Bitcoin could be if this does get approved. I have no idea which one of them are true, but the closest one that I was able to find that was the most accurate based on data is based on the history of gold. On November 18, 2004, the first gold spot ETF was born, the SPDR Gold Trust ETF, ticker symbol GLD. At that time, the price of gold was below $450 per ounce, but by 2011, just 7 years later, the price of gold was close to $2,000 an ounce, or a 4.5 times increase in just 7 short years. So gold, I think, is a pretty good historical example, and in my very personal opinion, I think Bitcoin's price growth will be even faster. And that's partially because all the companies that applied for their own ETF, they total about $27 trillion worth of money under management. And sure, not all that money is going into Bitcoin, but maybe 1% makes it into Bitcoin, and that will have a huge impact on its price. So the ultimate question is, when will we know if this spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved or not? So here's the timeline of when we could potentially get the answer to this ETF. Thanks to Jake Simmons for the breakdown on this, but the SEC has 3 tries to extend the timeline, once in August, September, and December. But their final deadline is February 23rd, 2024. That'll be close to Bitcoin's next halving, which will happen April 2024, when the cost to mine a Bitcoin estimated to double from the current price of roughly $23,000. Estimates range anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000 per coin in 2024. So in theory, that could be Bitcoin's floor price. Now, this is not a guarantee, but what it does tell us is that it's going to become extremely unprofitable for a lot of miners, and only the strongest ones will actually survive. But so far, the odds of this ETF being approved is about 50-50. Now, in my opinion, if this mythical spot Bitcoin ETF ever gets approved, I think it's going to have a positive effect on Bitcoin's price over the long term, just like the ETF had on gold, because it made it more accessible to a lot more people. But just like everything else with crypto and Bitcoin, please stay cautiously optimistic because things could go easily in the opposite direction. So please stay safe out there, focus on your own financial journey, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to grab your free stocks, links are down below, and then go track them automatically with a spreadsheet link down below in my Patreon. Love you, thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to see you back here on Monday, Friday, sometimes a Wednesday. See you soon, bye-bye.